So you graduated from Wheaton.
Yeah.
You and Lisa got married.
Mm-hmm.
You'd moved to San Francisco area.
Yeah.
You were starting your first coffee house? Or working at a coffee house?
Yeah, that would have been, yeah, here's the deal. Like Jay started this place, God, I think of the name of it. It was like that was a sandwich place, that was a bar, that was a bookstore called The Center.
Okay.
The Center, that's what it was. Yeah, but there was some other name, Country Kitchen.
Okay.
The Center, because he had to change it because it was brand trademark. Anyway, so he had a Gaggia 3-group lever with a thermal group on it, this whole thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow,
Old
man,
school.
Old school, this is really cool. And so he would go out and service these things. So he said, I want you to do service. There's service opportunities. And nobody really services these things, these old Italian guys. So I met the guy that was the importer for Gaggia. And he's just an old Italian guy, you know, and he carries like, you know, what Italians carry the feminine kind of purses, you know, kind of thing.
Man bags.
The man bags, yeah. So he's the man bag. So he's smoking his cigar, and so we go out on this service call to one of these like Gaggias at a nice restaurant, and I remember like he's there. There's this leak, and so you know it's a classy restaurant, and the manager's there, and he's saying like, get this leak problem and fix it like that, and so Andrew, I knew his name. Andrew is like in this Italian accent, like, so what's the problem? It's a leak. So he takes a couple bar towels, puts them under the machine, puts them up, brings them out in the sink, says, fixed. And I'm there like, this is not like customer, you know. So, see, so I started going to these, like we get this call from like Reno, like some casino that had a God, you know, it was like center of the bar. They cost $15,000-$20,000, and they sold these things.
Yeah, showpiece.
Oh, showpieces, right? And so, yeah. Anyway, so you know, so basically, I went up. So I'd go to Reno or something like that and do this, and I'd fix this, and find out that these casinos or these places with a lot of money, they bought 2 machines, just because they just have their department, they swap out because there was no service. So I started going to the wine country, and there were, you know, a few machines scattered around there, and I'd trade out like a bed and breakfast or meal or something, fix a machine, you know. And Paul Katza, I did the espresso program. Paul started Thanksgiving coffee back in '70. So Paul was a total, you know, in the early days, he was a total radical with social justice. And,
Still is.
Yeah, total. Yeah, and actually he did his, he was doing a program on, he had, I can't remember who was selling, a couple of his brands that he created were, Starbucks was suing him early on because of some brand thing. So anyway, that was a long story, but so basically we did the espresso program.
So this was your like,
The what?
Enjoy, keep going.
Oh, so basically,
this was your indoctrination. This was your learning into the espresso world.
yeah, and so I started independent. I started Uncommon Grounds,
Okay.
an espresso service and training thing. And then when we were in the Fuller extension, and then we decided we'd go the second year down to Fuller.
So you
And
did. So you and Lisa were enrolled in the extension,
yeah.
and then which was housed at Menlo Park
Yeah.
Press, right?
And Berkeley First Press where Palmer,
Parker Palmer.
no, Palmer,
Earl Palmer.
Earl Palmer, right. He
Okay.
wrote, you know, commentaries on like Romans and, yeah, so we were there. And also the you know, Shalem,
There's a reason why we had you.
yeah, Shalem, the Pacific Center for Spiritual Direction started, and I forget the names of some of the people there, but basically I was part of the Pacific Center for Spiritual Direction, which moved to DC and which became Shalem.
So then
was that Manning ever? I knew a lot of folks that were in the same tribe with Brennan Manning. Was he part of that? Shalem?
Well, he wasn't part of the thing in, he was part of the DC, I think.
Okay.
But I don't. But anyway, so that was my exposure to like, so there was and then we had John Howard Yoder came out to New College with his, it was funny, so there were several, and he actually, it's funny, he came out, I said, hey, come out, I can take you flying, show you the San Francisco area, you know. So he shows up and stays there, and he's got like 3 kids in his station wagon. So I call my dad up, he's got a 6-place Cessna, and I said, Dad, we're gonna need, like, take this guy and his family, take his whole. So we flew him around.
So you and your dad flew John Howard Yoder and his 3 kids.
And his 3 kids, yeah.
Around San Francisco.
Yeah, and after.
On a tour.
And
Just
yeah,
to be
yeah,
clear.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was, and then what was really funny when we've done these things before, like the kids, they have this whole thing like, hey, you fly over like, you know, Golden Gate Bridge, and you go down and see Monterey Carmel, and I mean, you know, it's just beautiful country, right? And you get to land at like San Francisco International Airport. You know, the big jets are. I mean, it's quite dramatic. Most people don't have that experience. And so, you know, after we did some of these things, and you have dinner, and like, you know, the kid that's the five-year-old, whatever, like, what's your favorite part of the trip? And it's like, well, we went through the car wash in Redwood City. You know, just because like, well, we're inside, it's all these brushes, and you know, it's like
Bubbles everywhere.
Yeah, stay in that framework, you know, because
There you
it's
go.
save a lot of money. And
Awesome.
Just go to a car wash.
There you go. All right, so we're up to like what, 1977 now? We've made it 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
So 77.
So lots happened.
77, we went down to Fuller.
Identify.
We went down to Fuller, and my wife worked in the library, and of course you could get then, it was like one spouse you paid, and it was 25% or something more for
Right.
the spouse to go.
So Fuller started in early 50s. So
Yeah.
you know, this is only not even 30 years into
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, down there, and it was like first thing it's like people meeting in the mailroom. Get your mail and you're talking like, where can you go to sit down and have a cup of coffee?
Right.
So the catalyst was, I don't know what it was being used for, but we said there was one other guy, Nathan, who was from San Francisco, who was a real you know, international kind of Italian guy, and he said, well, we need to do a coffee thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did the Catalyst, the coffee house, in the center of the campus, and in the basement of the Catalyst, I don't know if you've ever been in there, but
Mm-hmm.
I started the Bookseller, Cellar.
I get it.
That cool?
I see what you did
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and
Boom.
and the way you
I would have tweeted it.
and the way you finance micro enterprise in those days with a check float is you basically have relationships to these. The other thing we visited besides coffee houses is that we visited all these publishers. I met all these publishers in that summer. So Clayton Carlson, Harper and Rose, who's a major figure, and Erdman, Sam Erdman's, met all these publishers. And here's what I want to do. I want to do a new kind of store, you know, coffee house, all this kind of stuff. And so you need some help, right? So you got to float me some inventory kind of thing. So when I get out there, I had this, in a sense, kind of a personal line of credit. So I got all these books in, a lot of remaindered stuff that was quality, or, you know, that was, so we were studying, I don't know if you know the Erdman store, the bookstore that's in Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they sell like 80% off or something. So I was buying stuff from like Sam Erdman's and stuff, like getting it out there. And so we were selling stuff at Fuller, like, you know, 50, 60% off. Yeah, Erdman's, Harper's, Fortress, this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Until the bookstore said, you're out of business.
Right.
You know.
To the bookstore, like the Fuller bookstore.
Yeah, the Fuller.
Yeah,
bookstore,
okay,
Right.
right.
So, but anyway, so, and then started a food co-op there. So the
It's a
food.
reoccurring theme.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring thing.
You do what you know.
Yeah, it's like, that's all I knew how to do. But the other thing was I went to used bookstores where I had these relationships with, and it'd be like, you know, buying all this stuff at a good deal, and then saying like, hey, stamp the check, don't cash till Tuesday. You know, because if we sold half the books at a big sale, used stuff we could buy with it. See, I could sell the books. And somewhere in there, and I don't even remember this, but Whiff, who is now taken over the Fuller Bookstore. Did you know that? Did you get that mailing? Okay. And I don't even remember if like Whiff started something. I don't even remember. He would know, but either before or after that bookstore. I don't think he was on, but we knew each other. He was serious. He was. I mean, I was passing. But so we had the book. We had the coffee thing and the books, and then basically when we graduated, that became. I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I did a research project, and we had visited the Logos bookstore chain, and the big store was in Ann Arbor. That InterVarsity founded that store, and they formed the first mail order, like a Ingram book. You know, Spring Arbor started there, so it was the major distribution that changed the way the industry worked. And so I wrote a research project. I went through the religious books in print, like 88,000 titles, and marked every title in the book with a code, a 2-letter double code, to kind of like a tag thing, and did this research thing and went to the guy that founded Spring Arbor and showed him this research, who ended up, anyway, using the research.
Yes. All right, let's pause.
Okay, good.
Can we let's take a potty break. And then when we come back, let's keep going.
Maybe we could start a new hangout.
Yeah, we can start a new hangout. And let's pick up the pace a little.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
We're 1976.
We started in 73 and we're in 78 now.
Okay, so I've been born and now I'm 5.
Yeah, this is like, you know, people had riding lawnmowers then and everything. It wasn't like, you know, cart and wagons. Well, that makes me feel old now. Yeah.
Well,
Gee, Larry, in about 4 more years, we would have met, so,
Yeah, when did you come to the Phoenix?
that was, 82?
Okay. Did you come to the one that was, the big 2-floor one? Or the one that was in the dormant building?
Are we still live?
Yeah.
I think it was the 2-story one.
Okay.
It was,
Okay, no, I don't think we're live now, we're off.
are we off?
off now.
No, we're off now, yeah.